Some of you still think that Framer is just for landing pages, but that's not true. Let me show you an example of this online course portal that I built in Framer that uses authentication and member-only content from the FrameAuth plugin. So you can see here at first it looks like maybe a regular Framer landing page, but if I click into some of these options, you can see that there's some locked content here that I don't have access to. Some of them I can browse and access for free, but I see lock icons on some of the other content and I don't have access to it. If I was to click to gain access, it's going to ask me to complete a purchase. I can go here and sign in. I see sign in with Google, GitHub. I see a sign up option. I also see sign in with email and password. So this is my account that I've already created. I'm going to sign into that real quick. And now if I go to my user account, it says that I'm on the free plan. So let's actually complete a purchase real quick and see what happens. All right, so I've entered in the test credit card and I'm going to click pay here. And now it says that my payment has been successful and I can click go to content. So now after I've completed the purchase, I can see that I do have access to all of those lessons that were previously locked. And I can mark them as complete. I can bookmark them. If I go to my account as well, it says Framer course purchased, so it doesn't say I'm on the free plan anymore. And if I was to go back to this lesson, and if I was to sign out, so I'll copy the URL real quick and sign out. And now if I entered in that URL again, you can see I don't have access because I'm signed out of my account. So all of the access logic seems to be working correctly. All right, so how do you actually use these features and activate the template? The first thing you're going to want to do is remix this template, and I've just done that. So now that I'm in a fresh project, you can edit the content, you can use the agent if you want. I want to show you how to use the actual authentication features and make sure that membership features are working properly. So the first thing I'm going to do is come over here, go to plugins, and go to browse. You can then type in FrameAuth and then open the plugin. You'll need to sign in and create a project, and then once you've done that, you'll see your list of projects here. So I'll just select the project here from the list that I want to connect, and then I'll click connect. So what this is going to do is it's going to add an override file, it's going to connect my URLs, it's going to sync my pages, and a couple other things. So since I just cloned this, I haven't actually published it yet. So I'll go ahead and publish this real quick, and then now I'll just click fix to sync the URLs. So now everything seems to be in sync, and I can close the plugin for now. So the plugin's really good for setting things up, but since I'm using a template, I don't really need it for a lot of this because the sign up form is already here, the sign in form, all of that good stuff is already in the template. So the first thing that I want to do is go into the FrameAuth dashboard, and from here I'm going to go to my store, and you're going to want to make sure that you've imported a product if you plan on selling access to your course. So you'll start on the plugins page and you're going to install Stripe or Stripe Sandbox, Lemon Squeezy, one of those payment plugins. And once you've done that, you'll then go to the store page and you're going to go to import, select the plugin, and then import your product. I've already imported my product. So now I can click into my product and I want to copy the lookup key. So if you don't have a lookup key, you'll want to set that in your product in Stripe. Lemon Squeezy will already give you a lookup key, so you won't have to set one in there. But if you're using Stripe, then you want to go to your product, go to edit, come down here to edit price, and then here you'll set a lookup key. So I've set mine to be Pro Access, and I'll just click update. So if you've added the lookup key after importing, just come here and click sync, and then make sure that when you click on the product, you see your lookup key there. So now I'm going to copy it, and this is what we're going to use to launch a checkout inside of our website. So I'll now go to my pricing page, and now here on my pricing modal, I can see the lookup key field, and I'll just paste that in here. Perfect. So now that will actually trigger a checkout. And if I publish my website, we can test and make sure that it's working. So I'm going to go to my website and I'm going to click Purchase Course. Great. So now I can see that it has launched a checkout session, which is exactly what we wanted. The next thing that I'm going to want to do is go into the tags section and I'm going to create a tag. So I'm just going to call this one Pro. I can give it a color if I want, and I'm going to add a condition. So I'm going to add that when they purchase that product at any price, they're going to receive the Pro tag. So I'll create that tag. So basically the way tags work is I could then lock pages to tags. So I could say, for example, this page can only be accessible to someone who has a Pro tag. And I'll show you how that works in the template specifically, because for the template, you don't really need to lock pages since we use what's called on-page locking. So if I go back into the template and go into the CMS, you can see here that some of this content can be unlocked by having a basic or Pro tag. So in our case, we just called our tag Pro. If you were to have called it Excel, for example, then we can copy that. That's what you're going to want to paste in here. So I would then paste that into here. I'll select all of these, paste. So if the user has an Excel tag, then they would have access to this if I was selling an Excel course, for example. So this makes it really easy to manage who has access to what, because I could have multiple different tags here. I could have, for example, Word as another one, and I might have PowerPoint as another one. So if my courses were segmented into different categories like that, this one, they might need a PowerPoint tag to access, and this one, they might need a Word tag to access. And then only users with those tags would be able to access them. And then you can set conditions. So I only have one product in this case, but if I had a product for PowerPoint, Word, Excel, you would then be able to set that the user needs to have one of those products, would need to have to purchase one of those products in order to receive this tag. So it makes it really easy. You can also go to the user table and I can select one of my users, and if I wanted to, I could manually assign a tag. This is good for testing, and it's also helpful for customer support if a user purchased with a different email or something and you wanted to give them access. So that's how that is managed. The other plugin that you might want to install is GitHub or Google OAuth. So if we go to the sign-in page and the sign-up page, you'll see that there is a Google sign-in option and a GitHub sign-in option. This enables both sign-in and sign-up. So if you want those features to work, you're going to need to enable them in the dashboard. And if you're unsure how to do that, we have some docs and videos in our docs section that will show you exactly what you need to do to configure that. There's also many other options in here, like you might want to enable webhooks. If I go to the settings, we have team access if you wanted to invite your team members to help collaborate on this project, API, and a lot more. But really, for this template to work properly, all we need is that lookup key from our product to launch a checkout. We need tags, and you also might want to customize the content throughout the website, uploading your content into the CMS. This price, for example, you'll want to set it to your price. So all of that stuff you'll need to test and refine. So that gives you a brief overview of how you can use Course Hub to create not just a landing page, but an entire course portal inside of Framer with Mark is Complete, bookmarking, user accounts, member-only content, and a lot more. So if you want access to this template, it's available for free. It's called Course Hub on the Marketplace, or you can find the link down below.